It's now time for Motion and Turn with MP Chris Famous and Senator Dwayne Robinson.
And good afternoon to you, Brother Don Bassett.
What's going on, my man?
The Senator, a.k.a. Miracle Child, is off today.
Good.
And I'm very honored to have as a very special guest, all the way from the Federation of St. Kitts, St. Christopher, and Nevis, Minister Samal Duggins.
That's right.
Good afternoon, Minister. How are you doing? Welcome to Bermuda.
Good afternoon, and it is indeed a pleasantly good afternoon, and I'm happy to be in Bermuda today.
You finally made it.
Yes, finally. It's been a while.
All right.
But I'm here.
All right. So for those who don't know about Minister Samal Duggins, give us a little brief.
Yes, I am elected parliamentarian from St. Kitts and Nevis. Mm-hmm. I contested St. Christopher 4 successfully in our last general elections, and I've been given the purview over a number of areas. Particularly, my portfolio gives me oversight of agriculture, fisheries, marine resources, and our emerging cannabis industry back home. I am also responsible for sports and the creative economy. And under the creative economy's banner, it takes care of areas of culture, entertainment, the arts, and heritage. And so I'm responsible for preserving our heritage sites and ensuring that our entertainment industry is active and vibrant. I'm also responsible for festivals, our largest festival being our National Carnival. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, I'm also responsible for small business entrepreneurship and cooperatives. So it could seem like a very extensive portfolio, but neatly webbed into a powerful force of youth development, sustainability, and indeed emerging industries. And I think it's working well.
Is your boss paying you enough for all of that work?
On a normal day, I would say no, but when you're here for service, it doesn't matter, right?
All right. So for those who don't know, Bermuda and St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla have a long historical tie, and I'll just be very brief. Prior to 1834, which was slavery time, the plantation owners they didn't sail the ships all the way to Africa to pick up slaves. They went a little further, went down south, and one of the islands was St. Kitts, because that was the island that the slave ships from West Africa first went to that island, and then people came and picked up enslaved persons from there. So it was sort of like a wholesale market at the place of Independence Square, right?
Correct. Which was once Pall Mall Square,
right?
And we've since renamed it Independence Square,
right,
marking our own independence and move away from the idea of being enslaved to a more powerful people that sees over their own affairs.
All right. So I'm on the right track so far, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So post 1834, when people were quote unquote free, people were migrating out of St. Kitts, and one of the first places a lot of them came was to Bermuda, because at the time you had steamships that were transporting goods from Bermuda, from the Caribbean up to Canada, and people coming up, they were called the lady ships. So, and then in Bermuda during the late 1980s, we were building the dock. Well, not we, but the British were building dockyard, and they imported all this male labor, skilled labor from St. Kitts and Nevis. People came here. So fast forward, the rationale or the reality is that about half of Bermuda's population has some ties to St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, or any combination thereof. So if you take up a film book from St. Kitts, Nevis, or Anguilla, you take up a Bermuda film book, you look in there, and
it's pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same surnames, right?
Yeah. So,
and then we can't always get caught up on surnames, because your mama could be a Can and your daddy could be a Bean, but your name Bean doesn't mean you're not a Can, right?
That's right.
Right. So I say all that to say is that you are one of the first, in recent times, one of the first ministers from St. Kitts and Nevis to visit Bermuda. A few months ago, we had your ambassador for the diaspora.
That's right. Her Excellency Christine Walwyn.
Right, she
would have been
came.
here, yes.
So we're feeling she was sitting right in that same seat. So we feel honored that you all are, starting to come look for your cousins up north.
Oh yeah, prior to this year, I had no indication that the ties were so significant. Right? Geographically, Bermuda is not really in your normal trajectory. It's not really on the normal radar. But in conversations that I've had, I've recognized that, there's a strong tie to St. Kitts and Nevis, in particular with Bermuda. And even landing here, I'm witnessing it firsthand. Like everywhere I turn, somebody's telling me, my grandparent is from St. Kitts. I'm from Lamberts. I'm from Nevis. I'm from Cayon. And it's surprising to see so many persons just on a normal, random, casual move through that is so connected to.
The gentleman that's driving you, did he tell you his last name?
Yes, and that was the surprising one as well. Like because we were just discussing it, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a Gums from St. Kitts," and I'm like, "Wow."
Yeah. So this extensive history, but we have to get into that at another day. It might have to be an online show because under you said culture falls under your purview.
Yes, so right. Culture falls under my purview.
We'll get into that another conversation because we know you have an event to go to. Tell us about the event that you're going to today.
Yeah, so today while I'm here, I really wanted to meet a number of the persons connected to St. Kitts and Nevis being here. And so we arranged with our honorary council to have a number of those persons do visit for a meet and greet and a bit of a cocktail where we could have this diaspora discussions, I would say, related to, their own experiences here and how we could foster greater connectivity with the people. Because one of the things that I also believe in, and you made mention of it in your introduction, is that we are connected. We're just a boat stop away. Because it's just a boat stop that separated the persons in Bermuda from those in St. Kitts, right? We all came from the same origin. We had pretty much the same history. We've had similar developments culturally, economically. We live on similar islands. Your plant life is similar to my plant life. Your view of the ocean is similar to my view of the ocean. Just so many things culturally are similar. And for years we have allowed the water to be a separating a point of separation. So water and seashores have demarked what we deem territory.
Yeah.
And lately I've been taking up a different view on that and saying we are connected by water. Because it is the water that brought our people here.
Yes, indeed.
So we are connected by water. And so I'm now looking at what connects us more than what divides us. And being here, I want to see how we could foster that connection even deeper.
Okay. So for those who, there's quite a few number of Bermudians that have taken up the opportunity to get their St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship, and some have actually post-retirement moved to St. Kitts to live. A number, just like a very small, well, I won't say small, but there's a Bermudian community in St. Kitts and Nevis of Bermudians of Caucasian heritage. So shout out to those of you going back home to your roots, Miss Annette Lewis, the Douglas sisters, Mr. Charles Jeffers, Mr. Lister, one of our former parliamentarians. He spends half his time in St. Kitts. Of the sitting government that is here now, maybe about half or 3/4 of us actually have Caucasian roots, right?
Yep.
Caucasian and Division roots.
Correct.
Let's not forget the Division.
The Division side of it, correct.
So I say that to you, that the ties are there, and one of the things, we were both colonies of Britain, right? So one of the things that Britain did successfully is divide and conquer. They made those in St. Kitts think, well, there's people up there are nothing to do with you. And us who are here in Bermuda, they try to indoctrinate that we have nothing to do with those people down south. So one of the things with this show, over the course of the last 4 years, we've tried to help bridge those connections. Like saying, use the water to connect, right? So we're
Correct.
using the airwaves to connect
Correct.
with the people in St. Kitts and Nevis at this very moment. So shout out to all my family and friends in St. Kitts and Nevis who's listening in. For those of us that don't know, tell us what's going on in St. Kitts right now.
Well, one of the
I
things,
mean, like today, but just the development.
yes,
and
yes,
all.
yes. And I'll start with because there's so much, right? One of the things that I've been looking at since I've been here, I see you have Bermuda here, and we have our St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival and a number of national events. And so I would love for a discussion to ensue to see how we could have charters coming back for some of these events, and even charters from St. Kitts Nevis coming to Bermuda for your events like Bermuda Day, and how we could really bridge that gap and cut the red tape. Because for me to get here, I had to go through Miami, overnight in Miami, come to Bermuda, and then leave Bermuda, overnight in Miami again to get back home.
Yeah.
So if we could cut that out, I think it would be a lot easier on persons to get to and fro, and that could strengthen our connectivity. But outside of things like Carnival, which has been growing tremendously over the last couple of years, last year on record we had the largest Carnival ever. The average size of our parade troop last year was about 700 to 800 or more. The largest troop being almost 1,500. So it's grown significantly. But that's just on the entertainment side. And of course, on the entertainment side as well, we have Byron Messiah, who's now become a global phenomenon. Everybody around the world is familiar with that his new song. Da 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 da. And everybody knows the song with Burna Boy. He's actually from St. Kitts Nevis.
Which part of St. Kitts and Nevis?
He's actually a Byron from in town.
Okay, all right.
So if you remember Gene Byron and
Some of the Byrons come from Nevis too.
but the Honorable Sam Conder's wife.
Yeah.
He's connected to that family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's on entertainment. But our thrust really back home has really been looking at developing St. Kitts and Nevis into sustainable island state. And for us, that's a big thing considering all that is happening globally. Climate change, we've seen what COVID has done. We've seen the effects of the wars globally and how it impacts small islands. And we believe that we must become more resilient to such factors. And so we've looked at every sector and how every sector could become more resilient. We are working on the energy sector significantly. And as you know, we found the possible source of geothermal energy, which should help
Nevis,
us.
sir.
Yes, over in Nevis, and that should help us to become a lot more energy sufficient. And if you well know, any country that has enough energy is advanced, and it advances fast. If you look at Saudi Arabia, if you look at the
Trinidad.
UAE, you look at Trinidad, even look at Guyana, it is oil which facilitates energy that spurred their development. But let us even go to complete fiction. If we look at Black Panther and we look at Wakanda and the masterpiece that Wakanda was, it was based on the fact that they had a phenomenal amount of energy in the vibranium, right? So energy we see is a driving force for any economy to prosper and go far. The other thing is food, because at the end of the day you must eat. And so we've been putting significant work into food and water. And so we've invested a lot in food security, water security. And that
You
is...
have a new fisheries complex as well,
Yes,
right?
yes. So we've been developing the fisheries complexes around the country. Last year alone, we've seen the largest return in the fishing industry back home. Millions of dollars was returned, more significant than any year in the past. And so we've seen huge developments happening and growth within these sectors. But with energy, water, food, health becomes another part of it. And yes, you address health when you eat right, when you have all the right factors around you. But at the end of the day, some people will still get sick. And we just broke ground just a few weeks ago on a brand new hospital.
in France.
Yeah, so we're about to build a new Gen France hospital. In fact, what we're doing with that new construction is actually building one health city. Because in the area where we have the hospital, you have Ross University Veterinary School, and then you have a medical school, and then we're building other healthcare facilities. So what you would have is this one health city where animal health, plant health, and human health all connect, and everything is kind of geared towards developing health. And that's a plan that is being rolled out as well. We're doing so much infrastructure-wise. We have the new Bastia High School that had been an issue for us for the last 10 years. And our government now has moved forward to get that redone.
So quick question. Bastia High School, there's this one called Washi.
Yes, so there's the Washington Archibald High School, and there's the Bastia High School.
How you made out against Sandy Point?
How
you all made out against Sandy Point?
You mean in the interschool?
Yeah.
Sandy Point won again.
What? Sorry, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Yes, Sandy Point had emerged victorious yet again in the interschool
right.
championships. And we have to give them the credit. I mean, they have really shown their prowess over the last 30 plus years. They have won more than anybody in the last 30 years.
You heard that on the record for in the Bermudian context. That's like this is track rivalry in St. Kitts and Nevis between Bastia High School, which is in the city, and Sandy Point, which is in the country. So it's similar to like cup match rivalry. So it's like what you said for the last 30 years. Sandy, Sandy Point's been winning. Yeah.
Okay. Well, not every year, but majority of those years they won.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Then we continue.
So yes, and in sports, as you mentioned, that we've been doing a lot of work there as well. In fact, I would have been here most of the weekend, but we're doing some work with another descendant of the soil, Marcus Rashford. He's actually coming to St. Kitts on Sunday, and I'm flying back to meet him. And
so
as the Minister
he's picking
of
you up
Sports.
on his private jet.
I'm not sure about that. That would have been lovely, but I'm not sure about that. I think so far my ticket says American Airlines.
Okay, all right.
But it's really just drawing the connectivity worldwide and bringing all of that into the idea of sustainability and continued growth and development, making sure that we look at our people, for our people, after our people, because a lot of the answers are there within the people. And speaking with them, things emerge. And then it is for us to act. We've been there for 20 months, and all that I'm telling you now is 20 months worth of work. And so if you see the pace at which we've been moving is significant. Of course, you know, it's still, there's still a lot to do. And we still recognize that we have another 2-3 years, actually, before constitutionally due election, and we want to maximize each and every one of those 3 years and pull the country into a space where we're back to being number one, and no disrespect to any other country, but, you know, we believe that it is our own ambition and something that we hold with pride to strive to be number one. And number one doesn't mean that we are just looking to be better than anybody else, but to be the best that we can be for our people. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you have another event to go to meet up with the Bermudians of Petition and Division Descent, which is thousands. I don't want to hold you up from that. I want to thank you for gracing us in the studio. This is our first but not last conversation, because the power of the internet and the power of telephone, you could call in at any time.
Correct.
And we could continue this conversation and talk about the music fest and other things.
Oh yes, and we have that in June. That's coming up. The St. Kitts Music Festival. We have Culturama in August over the Emancipation Day weekend. We do have CPL that's coming up in the end of August, September. We have our Independence celebration around September 16th, 19th. That time frame. It's just quite a bit of stuff that's happening. You know? And it's a lot to talk about in 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for gracing us with your time.
Indeed.
And appreciate you being on Power 95.
It has been my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to, like you said, continuing these conversations, meeting everyone that I can of St. Kitts and Nevis descent, and ensuring that we take the time to listen, because I believe that there are wonderful ideas out here that we could engage back home and make it better on both ends of the oceans.
All right. We're going to go to break, and then we'll come back with our second set of guests.